Ben Shapiro defended President Trump from the accusation that he's lying about COVID. He's talking, of course, about the Bob Woodward book and the audio tapes that were just released of Trump saying one thing behind closed doors, which contradicted what he was saying publicly. Let's see what Ben says.
This has not stopped anybody from jumping to the conclusion they wish to jump to, which is that Trump knew full well how bad things were in early February, and then he lied about it. Okay, that is not correct. Okay, let's go through, first of all, what Trump's comments look like, and then we'll parallel them with what exactly Andrew Cuomo's comments look like. Because as you will see, they're kind of parallel. Right? Everybody was kind of figuring this out at the same time. So the basic story here, which is that Trump knew in February, early February, everyone was going to die from the virus, and then he lied about it. So to what end exactly? Nobody knows. Right? What exactly was the end of it? I've yet to hear an excuse for why this would happen. It's sort of like when the left claimed that Bush lied to lie America into war in Iraq. Why? To what end? So that we could get involved in a quagmire war for a decade? What exactly was the purpose? If Trump was lying about the virus, knowing, right? Not that he made a mistake. Not that he botched it by downplaying it, right? That all of that is fair game. That he lied about it. That Trump lied in order to do what? Seriously, in order to do what? So he knew early February that COVID was going to kill everybody. And then he was just like, I'm going to downplay it for fun. Like why? To increase the stock market? But as soon as the news broke, the stock market was going to crash. Why? To uphold his electoral possibilities? As soon as COVID hit, it was going to be obvious that Trump had misstated the case, and that was going to hurt him politically. So what would be the purpose of the lie? Again, I think we ought to distinguish between people saying dumb crap, which, again, is a hallmark of this administration, and lying outright. That he was not lying about COVID.
I can't believe that there are people who are convinced that Ben Shapiro is some sort of like next level intellectual with a super high IQ making amazing arguments. That is a smug prick who is making a preposterous argument. That's what you just saw right there. What he's saying is silly. It's downright silly. Because in my mind, the one major takeaway from the audio tapes released by Bob Woodward, it's that Trump, if you previously thought, hey, when he's talking at any given moment, he believes what he's saying. If you previously thought that, that's out the window. Because what those audio tapes showed, in no uncertain terms, is that he knew behind the scenes what he was saying publicly about the virus was not true. We got him stone cold caught. How can you try to jujitsu your way out of this? He says to Bob Woodward, this is even way worse than your flus, even your strenuous flus. We're talking about, 5% versus 1% or less than 1%. That's what he said. And then publicly, he's saying the exact opposite, Benjamin. Publicly, he's like, it's just, it's like the flu. Just treat it like the flu. That's all you have to do. It's like the flu. He's saying it's like the flu publicly. In private phone calls a month earlier, he's saying, this is way worse than the flu. It's more deadly. It's airborne. It's airborne, he was saying. Wasn't saying that publicly, was saying that privately. And then, yes, he said, honestly, what I like to do is I like to downplay it because I don't want to cause a panic. So that's him admitting, yes, I'm downplaying it. I know that what I'm saying is not true, but I'm downplaying it because I don't want to cause a panic. The textbook definition of that, Ben, would be lying. Lying. I'm going to say something else in public than I am behind closed doors. And he tells you his reason. You don't have to speculate. He says, I don't want to cause a panic. That's his reason. Now, we could dig deeper into that if you'd like. And, when you do that, it becomes readily apparent that a lot of the things Ben cited there actually are the reasons. He's flippantly dismissing, like, was he lying? He's lying to prevent a panic and to, protect the stock market and to, protect his electoral chances. Yeah, that's literally exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is, Ben. He says it flippantly and dismissively as if he's making a point. No, that's totally plausible, of course. He would like to... Guys, this is Trump 101. If there's anything Trump learned, it's that in most cases, he could override empirical reality through force of will and bravado and bluster and marketing. This is Trump 101. This is exactly why Trump, when he was caught on tape, grabbed him by the pussy, I don't even wait. Remember when he said that? And then all the news outlets, is he going to drop out? He might drop out. I think he might drop out of the race. It's over. This thing is done. What did he do at the next debate? he brought like 5 of Bill Clinton's accusers and put them in the front row. And he said, you know, with me, I'm not proud of it, but it was just words. It was just locker room talk. With Bill Clinton, it was a lot more than words, folks. It was actions. See those people sitting right there? They're all accusers of Bill Clinton. Not a good guy. Not a good guy, folks. The stuff he did was bad. So what's that, Ben? What's that? That's through force of will and marketing and bluster going over the top and changing the nature of reality by doing that. Of course, that's what he wanted to do with the virus. Hey, if I go out there and I say it's not all that bad, and I, try to calm people down, maybe we can override the negative effects of it. And we can pretend, they do this all the time. Politicians do this all the time. Act like things are wonderful when they're not wonderful. Trump and Pence were bragging about the economy in their RNC speeches. The economy's terrible. But what do? You pick some indicators like, oh, the stock market's up. Okay, talk about that. Don't talk about the fact that 46% of Americans say they're in, quote, serious financial trouble. Don't talk about the fact that over 80% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. I can go on and on here. The real unemployment rate is 20%. Don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. Focus on these little things and try to override it. Yes, of course, this is what he's doing. I can't believe... God, he's so smug with his downplaying of it. Yes, he wants to protect his electoral chances in 2020. He didn't want the panic. He wanted to keep the stock market up. Of course. And he's smugly dismissing it. But honestly, the best part of that clip was buried in it. I'm sure you guys caught it, but he said, oh, the left claimed that Bush lied us into Iraq. Why? Why would he do such a thing? Ben, at this point, there is no the left claimed. George W. Bush and Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld and Paul Wolfowitz and Bill Kristol and David Frum, they lied us into Iraq. They lied us into Iraq. I mean, they even moved the goalposts from when they started versus you go, down the road a little bit more, deeper into the war a few years in, and they started changing their rationale. At first it was like, oh, Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. And the implication was he's going to use them on us. Then they softened that to, all right, well, if he has them, he's not going to use them on us, but he has them and he shouldn't have them, so we're going to go in. And actually, it started with Saddam Hussein worked with Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. That was the first claim. He's responsible for 9/11 because he worked with Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. Then that became, okay, there's no evidence in working with Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden. He's got weapons of mass destruction, and the implication was he's going to use them on us. Then they changed it to, all right, he might not use them on us, but he's got them. Then they changed it to, okay, he doesn't have weapons of mass destruction, but he's just a really bad dictator. A bad dictator who we supported at the height of his atrocities. We gave him the funding and support when he was massacring Kurds. So what do you mean? Of course they lied us into that war. Are you insane to claim otherwise? Have you been living under a rock? See, this is the delusional mindset of the hardcore conservatives of like, America is always good by definition. What we do is by definition defensive in nature and for the public good across the world. It's the most childish belief I've ever heard in my life. The United States is not above the same things that other empires were subject to throughout history. You think that they don't weigh at all oil into the calculation for continuing the war, or mineral wealth, the trillions of dollars of mineral wealth in Afghanistan, or the amazing amount of money tied to the military-industrial complex with these defense contractors getting no-bid contracts? You don't think that weighs in at all? Of course it weighs in. It absolutely weighs in. The left claimed that Bush lied us into war. Why? Because Saddam Hussein was no longer acting as a puppet to the United States of America. That's why. That's why. Remember George W. Bush saying, Saddam tried to kill my daddy? I mean, yes, when you become a rogue state and you don't subject yourself to U.S. imperialism, the U.S. tends to overthrow you. It's what we're doing. It's what we're trying to do in Venezuela. It's what we're trying to do in Iran. These are countries that are not under the thumb of the United States. They're not subjecting themselves to U.S. imperialism and our corporatocracy. And so we try to get rid of them. This is the history of the U.S. post-World War II. Look at everything we did in Central America and South America. Of course, that we overthrow democratically elected governments all the time. All the time. He really argued. The left claimed Bush led us into Iraq. So you think he didn't? Which claim do you believe? Did Saddam work with Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda? Is that the one you believe? Because that was the original story. Is that what you believe, Ben? He's so stupid, and people think he's smart. Jesus Christ, man, just lying to his audience. In his case, I'll be kind and say, I don't know if he's lying. I'll just go with insanely wrong about every single thing he's saying.